What's up, guys? Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, this is my channel Pixie Dust and Spirit Alchemy, where we talk about all sorts of things taboo, magical, mystical, spiritual, supernatural, occult, stuff like that. Guys, today's video I was actually going to do on like a completely different topic, and then it occurred to me to do it on this topic that I'm about to bring to the table because I think it's important. And as someone who practices magic and has practiced magic for several years, I have come to find the importance, come to learn firsthand the importance of remaining grounded while doing magic. So that's what I'm here to talk about with you guys today. What I mean by this is that when we do magic regularly, or however often we do it, especially if we do it regularly though, especially if we do it often, sometimes it is easy to get carried away into the spiritual realm and not remain rooted in our root chakra, literally, and sort of become disconnected from this physical reality that we are still living in and that we are still part of as human beings. Because we become wrapped up in all these magical practices, right, which take place in other dimensions, which take place with other spirits, things that are not physical. It's a supernatural means. And depending on one's spiritual practices, whether you meditate or whether, you're doing Kundalini yoga or however far deep that you dive into spirituality and magic, I have learned over the course of time that it is important to remain in the physical world. And I know that that sounds weird because I know that it's like, well, duh, I'm going to remain in the physical world. But I mean mentally and emotionally being present and to not become so disassociated and wrapped up in everything that you're doing magically. So now I'll start with an example of just what happened to me a few years ago, because I was practicing Kundalini yoga at the time, and in addition I was doing magic. I think I was on my second run of wealth magic. And, I was dabbling in a lot of spiritual arts, in a lot of different spiritual practices. And it did enhance my spirituality tenfold, I believe. It just with everything that I was doing, the meditation, especially with the Kundalini yoga. And I was doing medium readings for people at the time, beginning to do that. It was easy for me to sort of just stay in the clouds, and become disconnected from the actual world around me, whether that meant like not going to see my friends, whether they practice magic or not, or just not going out into the world and doing things. Like I would become sort of a hermit because I was learning so much at the time and studying so much just by choice that I would stay home and, I would do readings for people and I would meditate and my crown chakra was wide open, but my root chakra was not activated. And I learned that this became sort of a problem because there has to be a balance, right? We're physical beings. We can't just stay in the stratosphere, stay in the other dimensions forever, because that's not where we physically are, even if our mind can go there. Eventually we have to come back down to earth, to this physical plane. And I'm not saying, of course I'm not saying it's wrong to do these spiritual practices and everything. But I am saying, or stressing rather, the importance of balance, the importance of, grounding yourself in whatever ways you do that. And so some of the ways that I like to ground myself are by going out in nature. I mean, that's sort of an obvious one, like touching trees, taking my shoes off and putting my feet in the grass or in the sand or in the dirt or whatever. and physically feeling that earth, that the earth below us or around us. Another way that I like to stay grounded is just by talking to my friends, and not always about spiritual topics. Like, of course, I have some friends that are magicians and in the occult, and we talk about that stuff, but we also talk about, how our week has been, what our other goals are, what else is happening in our life. And making sure that I'm not becoming disconnected from my tribe, from my support group, from my friends, from the reality that I exist in. In addition, this also means, when we're doing magic for a specific purpose, whether it's to get more money or start a business or help with, someone who's sick or whatever the case may be, there's always the part that we must do of taking action in the physical and not relying on only the spirits or the magic that we've done to do the, to do it all for us. We have to take action. And no matter what it is that you're doing, a good way to assist with the magic working and keep yourself grounded is by taking that action, and thinking logically at times and working on a goal that we have, manifested, and taking these physical steps to keep us connected in this third dimension, as well as assisting with the magic to manifest. Now, I was just thinking of how in wealth magic, in the first ritual, and for those that don't do this, it's okay, you don't have to have done the book. I'm just going to tell you, for example, there's a part in it where you grab a twig, or you go outside and you grab a twig in the first ritual, and every day that you do the ritual for, I can't remember how many days, you bring this twig inside and set it on the ground, and then you go and do your ritual. And you do that, you get a new twig, I believe, every time that you do that ritual for X amount of days. And I believe that is symbolic of remaining grounded while starting and embarking on this sort of magical journey of wealth magic, right? Which is like a 6-month long grimoire and process that it takes. And there could be other reasons that this twig is used, but the way that I interpreted it was to keep us connected to this material world too, and have that sense of grounding as we're about to step further into the magical world and the spiritual world. Now, I don't know how many people I speak for. I can only speak for myself, but I don't know how many of you guys can relate to maybe being so far into a spiritual rabbit hole that you just become a hermit for days, or however long of time you become a hermit and isolate. Because I'm guilty of that. I'll find a new fascination or a new book or something or a new practice, and of course I go about my life, but I don't, in my spare time, that's kind of all I'm focusing on and all I'm doing. And that isolation sure does tend to open up your crown chakra and the higher chakras and make you more psychic and more sensitive if you're a medium or someone sensitive to energy. But we're not allowing our physical reality around us to catch up with the spiritual advancements that we're doing, that we're manifesting, that we're practicing. So if you've ever experienced something like this, if you know what I'm talking about, I know it's especially common with people who do Kundalini yoga and have Kundalini rising experiences, which, if anyone is kind of curious about some experiences on that, I do have a video with my good friend James McMillan, who is a certified Kundalini yoga instructor, on my channel. I can post a link to it in here. And, you know, we both talk about like our experiences during the practice, and sort of how it does tend to separate you. Like it enters you into this new world of spirituality, and elevates your consciousness. But that at times, you know, you can feel a little like wigged out because everything's shifting so fast spiritually, but then the physical hasn't caught up to it yet. So when doing magic, it's important to maintain the balance and allow the physical to catch up with the manifestations that are taking place spiritually. And a lot of that is done by doing the work, by helping the magic to play out, by not sitting around thinking about the magic and lusting for results, but going out and living our lives, going to dinner with friends, you know, seeing family, doing whatever it is we do, go on walks, exercise, using your physical body. Because our body is a machine too. And it keeps us distracted from thinking about the magic and lusting for results. Which I had sort of the thought the other day that not lusting for results applies not only to magic, but to any intended manifestation work leading to the life we desire. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. Thank you all who have been interacting with my last couple videos with the magical protection and archangels of magic. There is more to come of that. If you guys liked this video, take the time to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You know, it helps the algorithm, and I love like being able to help people and share my experiences with this stuff, and to teach you guys, you know, from what I've learned too. And I think more and more people are sort of finding my channel, which is good. You know, it's not huge, but it's growing. And I want that to continue, you know, because I want this to sort of be a channel that inspires people to step into their spiritual or magical journey and not be afraid of it. So guys, thank you again. As always, stay kind, stay curious, stay grounded, and until next time, peace.